Hi everyone, my name is Sana and welcome to Autism and Adults. Today I want to talk to you about a book I recently read called The Rosie Project. This is what it looks like. And I absolutely loved it, so that's why I want to share it with you. I don't actually recall reading a novel based on an autistic adult before. Maybe I have read one, but I either don't remember it or it wasn't spelt out. It just wasn't memorable. Um, or I guess also it wasn't on my radar before 2020. So, I just didn't think too much about being on the spectrum until I was diagnosed in 2020 as an older adult. Now, the Rosie Project is a real delight. It was written by an Australian author called Graeme Simsion. I think it was published around 2012-13, around that time frame. And it tells a story of an autistic genetics professor who works at a university and has never been on a second date. Now, he wants to change this by creating what he calls the Wife Project. In essence, it's a research project. He feels comfortable doing research, so this is the perfect way for him to, find a wife essentially and go out on a second, third, fourth date. And what he does, he gets women to fill out a specific questionnaire, and then he reads those responses. And, hopefully some of the answers that he reads are in alignment with, his life values, and that's how he sets up these dates. And this is in lieu of him then finding a wife. Now, a non-autistic person may find this ludicrous, strange, ridiculous even, but I call it creative and innovative, and it highlights someone who thinks outside the box, and these are all autistic traits. It's been described as tender, charming, and heartwarming, and it's indeed all of these things. There's a lightness to the book, which is what I really love about it, even though it's tackling an important subject, and that is of a highly intelligent autistic person navigating socialization skills and relationships, two areas autistic people are traditionally, they struggle with. I found it also to be poignant at times because here is Don, who knows he's autistic and he can do some socially awkward stuff, some real crazy stuff. But he's trying so hard to be neurotypical at times, but he also understands that this isn't possible. For the sake of love, he tries hard to break some of his habits, his routines that actually help him live his life, and get on with his day. And I really feel for him here because he really, really tries. For someone who was diagnosed on the spectrum later in life, I can relate to some of what he needs to navigate. And what stands out for me are things like, changing his routines to satisfy a neurotypical loved one, being more flexible and adaptable, and working on or working through someone else's timetable sometimes. And time, oh my gosh, I didn't realize how much time can be an autistic trait. And Don measures his whole life, his whole days with time. And this is something that I do too. The Rosie Project has been brought by a production company, and Henry Cavill from Superman fame is set to play Don Tillman. Now, at this point in time, there hasn't been anyone lined up to play Rosie. As a movie, I see this going three ways. It could be excellent, it could be mediocre, or it could be a real flop. And I think it's going to really depend on the portrayal of these two really important characters, Don and Rosie. And I read somewhere that the book was called A Classic Screwball Romance. And actually, I think it's a little bit insulting to call it this. But if the movie isn't done with finesse, some sensitivity, gentle awkwardness, and understated humour, then it could end up being a screwball. But you know what? I've just described something completely hypothetical because the movie doesn't exist yet. And I really hope it succeeds because I quite frankly want it to. It's a fantastic book, and I hope that it translates into film in an amazing way. So who would I recommend this book to? Definitely people who want to understand autism in adults, autistic people who want to learn more about themselves and others through the character of Don Tillman and how Rosie sees Don, which is in a beautiful way. I'd also recommend it to people who want to gain insight into the world of adult autism through a light-hearted but not diminishing lens. And that's about it, really, on the subject of the Rosie Project. I do hope that you have enjoyed listening to this review. And if you've read the book, then please let me know what your thoughts are. And if there's another book that you've read, whether it's fiction or non-fiction relating to autistic adults, I would love to know about that too. So just pop that in the comment section, and who knows, I might even get to read one or two of them as well, because I really love reading. Anyway, that's about it from me right now, and I look forward to being back here really soon.